Hello and welcome back to Excel. Today we are going to talk about a formula which is like a Swiss Army knife of Excel formulas. Just like a Swiss Army knife, which has a range of tools ranging from bottle opener to pliers, from screwdriver to cork opener, the aggregate function has 19 different formulas within. Yep, not one, not two, but 19. Before I show you the list of different functions, let's quickly get the syntax out of the way. In reference form, its syntax is aggregate, function number, comma options, comma ref1, ref2, so on and so forth. However, in array form, its syntax is aggregate, function number, options, array, and k. Now let me show you the list of functions available and I will explain the syntax along the way. Here is the list of all 19 functions which are available with aggregate. These are all the functions you can use with this single function. I know you must be thinking that all of these formulas are available anyways. Why take the trouble to learn a new function? Just stick around and you will know the reason. This takes care about the function underscore num argument in our syntax. Now let's move to the options bit. This is the second argument in our aggregate function, the options list. If it's not clear as to why do we need a function like aggregate now, this is the reason. If you go through this options list, this gives you the choice of ignoring certain cells in your calculation, which becomes vital in certain scenarios. If you're still not convinced, don't worry. By the end of this video, you'll have a solid understanding of how to use this function for a wide range of tasks. In the array form syntax, you must have noticed the last argument k. This is optional and only required when using the functions 14 to 19. Now let's jump to examples, and I said by the end of this video, you will be convinced about the importance of this function. In this sheet, we have some sales data for the past 4 years for different locations. Pretty standard data. And if I ask you to do a sum, average, count, or any other function from our functions list, it's pretty easy, right? Let's do sum at the end. So we want to know the total sales in the year 2020. We go at the end and write our sum formula as sum and then select the whole range and press enter and done, right? Don't worry about this warning here. It says that our formula omits adjacent cells because it's counting our year up top as a value which it's not. Same way, if you want to get the average, we can do that too. Just change our formula to average. Select the range and done. So why do we need the aggregate function? You are right. As long as we are working with this data set, we probably don't. But do we always have a data set this straightforward? If you have been working with Excel for long, data sets as simple as this we don't get like ever. And even if you're new to Excel, you will eventually move to more complex data, and that's when using simple functions like sum, average in their original form might not be productive anymore. So let's move on to see why do we need functions like aggregate. This is the same sheet as before with a slight difference. This time we have regional total mentioned using a subtotal formula after countries that fall to that particular region. Pretty standard. You must have seen data sets like these during presentations, etc. Same task as before, we have to get the total of each year. By now, you are observant enough to know that we can't use sum like we did the last time. So we had to resort to a sum function a bit differently. Like we did in a sum video, we have to select our range selectively. So we start with our sum formula, then carefully select the countries in the Africa region, then Asia, Europe, North America, Oceania, and finally South America. Press enter and we have a result. This was easy, right? It was. But what happens when you have a data set that spans hundreds of rows? Would you be able to do this exercise by selecting like this? That's where aggregate comes in. Let's write our formula here. Aggregate, press tab, then in this functions list, let's select 9 for sum. For options, we shall select 0, which reads ignore nested subtotal and aggregate functions, and then select our full range, no selective range this time, and done. we have our total. Let's just copy it on all the cells and complete our task. By the way, I'm only using sum as an example here in this video. The results are the same with other functions available in aggregate, so you can try other options when you practice. This time we have the same sheet, but let's take up another scenario. Let's say you are presenting this dataset in a meeting with the Africa and South America team, and you don't want to show them the numbers of other regions. So you decide to hide them, like this. Let's select the rows in Asia, Europe, North America, and finally Oceania, and then right-click and hide. If you've noticed, a sum formula is no longer relevant because it is still on the old range and there is no way to make the sum formula to ignore the hidden rows. But that's a built-in option when you use aggregate. Let's write our aggregate function here. Aggregate, use 9 for sum function, and this time for option we will choose 1, which ignores hidden values, subtotal and aggregate functions, and select our whole visible range. Press enter and done. Let's check our total by manually selecting the country's data by pressing and holding Ctrl for the next set, and it matches perfectly. When you are done with your meeting, you need to unhide it. So let's do that now. Select all the rows here and right-click and unhide. And the moment we unhide our sheet, our aggregate formula is updated automatically. It's like magic. We are still working on the same sheet, and by now you might be thinking that I might have ran out of sample datasets, but that's not the case. I wanted to make this video comparable to the previous variations of the formula, and that is why I'm using the same dataset so you can easily understand the function, which is the main goal of making this video. So this time we also have an error list here. The purpose of this error list is to simulate a situation where your dataset has some errors like these, which is understandable because in certain office scenario, most of the sheets are pulling data from other sheets, and due to human error or calculation or missing values, you might come across any one of these errors in your dataset. By the way, we are in process of making a video on the most common errors in Excel and their resolution. So make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Now let's simulate this data with some random errors. Before that, let's copy both the sum formula and the aggregate formula to all the cells here so we can compare it easily. Now let's copy and paste these errors randomly in our dataset, and while I do that, keep an eye on the totals here, both of them, the sum and the aggregate results. So you see, the moment I pasted an error value, our sum formula gave up, but aggregate was still going strong. That's because we have used the option 3, which ignores all the error values along with nested subtotal and aggregate functions. So the moment we pasted an error value in its range, it skipped it and moved on with the total of the remaining values. If only there was a way to show a notification here to say that this total skips error in range. But fingers crossed, maybe Microsoft brings something like this in future. Remember when I was explaining the syntax for aggregate, we came across an optional argument k, and I said it was only required when using functions from 14 to 19. Let's try that. Let's use large and small functions to understand the use of this argument. Again, we have the same dataset, and this time we are going to find highest and second highest, smallest and second smallest. So let's start with our formula here. I have already prepared the headers for you. So we need to find the largest sales figure in the year 2023. Let's start with the formula here. Aggregate, and then for the function, we go down here and choose large, which is number 14. Then for option, we choose a trusted number 3. And for range, we select our 2023 range, and this time we are going to use absolute references because we intend to copy this formula down. So we press F4 here and here. Now we come to the argument k. In the large argument, it's like this. If we use 1, it will give us the largest value in our range. If we use 2, it will give us the second largest, and so on and so forth. We need the largest value, so we use 1 and complete our formula. That's job done. Now let's copy this formula down by using Ctrl D and edit the formula to get the second highest value, and we only have to change the k argument to 2. Very simple, right? To check my calculation, I have already prepared the data from 2023 and sorted it from high to low. So let's check our result, and here is the highest and the second highest. So it's spot on. Now comes the smallest bit. Just to save time, let's copy the large formulas and paste them here so we can edit them. We have used absolute references. Let's put them to work. So now we know our small function is at number 15. So we change the function number to 15 and we have our smallest value in 2023. Same thing with the second smallest. We change function number here to 15. We already have a k value set to 2. So we have the second smallest value in 2023. Now let's get to something interesting. By now, we have only used aggregate to calculate the cells directly above, but you can use it on the whole data set we have here. So we are going to write our formula. Aggregate, function number is 14, option number is 3, but this time we are going to select the whole thing from 2020 to 2023 for all the countries. And again, use the absolute reference here. Choose 1 to get the largest value and done. It gives us 499,716, which is the highest value in this dataset. Now let's do the second highest. Same drill as before. Copy the formula down and change the k argument to 2 and done. Now let's do it for the smallest values too. And there you have it. We've covered just a few examples of what the aggregate function in Excel can do. It's a powerful tool that allows you to perform various calculations on your data even when dealing with errors or hidden rows. Feel free to explore the other remaining functions like standard deviation, variance, percentile, etc. and options like ignore nothing, ignore only hidden values, etc. which are available within the aggregate function to further enhance your Excel skills. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for more Excel tutorials. Don't forget to like and subscribe for updates. Happy spreadsheeting.